What's up everyone, JMetal797 here, and it is October, my favorite month of the year. I'm a personal fan of horror, anything horror, video games, movies. I'm all about that shit. I'm actually working on a short movie, as you guys know, short horror movie. It's going to be a while until it comes out. A lot goes into this, and I've never made a horror movie, or any movie for that matter. So a lot of time and effort goes into that. But here today, I am here to talk about a personal scary story that happened to me growing up. And you know, if you guys are squirmish, if you get scared easily, don't listen to this, don't watch this video, because it's gonna scare the crap out of you. It really scared the shit out of me for a number of years. But if you're not into that, then, you know, I suggest you don't watch this. So in some of my older videos, I mentioned that I lived on this old, like, farmland in this old house. The house probably was like 80 to 100 years old. Just a lot of crazy stuff that happened in this house that I can attest to. I saw with my own eyes. I heard things. Tons of stories that I got to tell you about this house. But one particular story that happened, I want to share with you guys. It screwed me up for years after this happened. It really did. Just like the weirdest thing that ever happened. So pretty much I was 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9 years old. I don't remember exactly. And I woke up in the middle of the night to hearing my mom on the phone with my grandfather. And I didn't want to go out into the kitchen where she was talking because it was late at night and I thought I would get in trouble. So I went up and I was doing a little snooping and I was listening through the door with my ear. And I overhear my mom talking to my grandfather. And all of a sudden you hear knocking on the door, on the front door to the house. And my mother said to my grandfather, "Let me go check the door. There's someone at the door. I'll be right back." So she goes there. And she looks outside. There's absolutely nothing there. So she didn't think anything of it at first, because we had 3 cats at the time. And when they were outside at night and they wanted to be let in, they would scratch at the door and it would kind of sound like, you know, like a thud or something. So, you know, she checked. There was nothing out there. And so she went back to talking to my grandfather on the phone. And I'm listening to this whole thing up against the door, being nosy, scared. But she's on the phone with my grandfather. A few minutes later, you hear the knocking again. And at this point, it got louder. Like, I could hear the knocking through the door. My grandfather could hear it on the phone. And she's like, "Oh, there's something at the door. Someone's knocking again." And he said, "Well, go look. Go check it out. See who's out there." So she goes again, looks out there. Absolutely no one there. Nothing there. The knocking stopped again. She ran back to the phone, frantic at this point, scared shitless, as anyone would be in a situation like this. I'm scared. My heart's like pretty much beating out of my chest. And she's saying, you know, you could hear the fear in her voice. She's saying, you know, there's something at the door. It keeps knocking, and I keep looking, and there is nothing there. There's no cats there. There is nothing. And then she continues to talk to my grandfather a little bit longer, and then there's a third knock on the door again. And this time it was so loud, it sounded like someone was about to bust the door down. And you can only imagine how scared I was, or my mother was, in this situation. I mean, anyone would freak out in this situation. My grandfather, you know, said, "Hang up the phone immediately, call the police and get them up there immediately." So she hung up with my grandfather. And called the police, and she said, "You know, there's someone at my door. There was just a really loud knock. I've checked a couple times and there was nothing there, and it just happened again, and I need someone up here ASAP." So they said, "Okay, we're going to send an officer up there. He'll be up there as fast as he can." So she hung up the phone and went out to look again, because, you know, we just heard that loud ass thump noise or knock or whatever. And she went out to look again. This time she looked down, like towards like the doormat, like down. And there was a guy crouched down with like a black trench coat on and like a derby hat, like covering his eyes. Sitting there like kneeling down. And he was kicking the door with his foot. Kneeled down. And then like slowly looked up at my mother. And my mother screamed. Like, I've never heard my mother scream that loud, ever. So she ran away from the door. And then, like, 2 minutes later, she saw the police cars pull up in the driveway. and they came to the door, and nothing. There was no one there. Whoever it was, whatever it was, just took off, and the cops were like, you know, they went out on a search. They were out there for like an hour with flashlights going around the neighborhood, with their spotlights looking around. They came back, nothing. They could not find a single freaking thing. And, you know, this situation scared the shit out of me for years after this. Scared my mom. We got like a couple deadbolts put on the door, and, you know, it never happened again. That situation never happened again, but it was absolutely terrifying for the whole family and just unbelievable. So that's my story, guys. I hope it didn't scare you too much. But if you've had situations that's happened like this, you know, in your past or whatever, leave them in the comment section down below. I just can't believe that happened. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't make up stuff like this. You know, you can't. My mother attested to it. I can attest to it. My grandfather, everyone can attest to this story that happened, and we still to this day don't know what the hell it was. Scariest shit ever. I have so many more stories to tell. Me and Monster Minded eventually are going to be doing some horror live streams, you know, kind of like a podcast where, you know, we can talk about your personal horror stories and be on the live stream with us, and it should be pretty fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Feel free to leave your own stories as well. Smash that like button, and until the next video, guys, I'm out.